Tony Elumelu is one of Africa's leading investors and philanthropists. He is the founder and chairman of Highs Holdings, a family-owned investment company committed to improving lives and transforming Africa. Here's Holdings' portfolio spans the power, oil and gas, financial services, hospitality, real estate, and healthcare sectors, operating in 23 countries worldwide.
Tony est le champion le plus important de l'entrepreneuriat en Afrique. En 2010, il a créé la fondation Tony Elumelu, la principale philanthropie qui soutient l'entrepreneuriat et les entrepreneurs africains. L'initiative phare de la fondation, le programme TEF Entrepreneurship, est un engagement de 100 millions de dollars sur 10 ans visant à identifier, former, encadrer et financer 10 000 entrepreneurs africains. La mission de la fondation s'inspire de la philosophie économique de l'africapitalisme de Tony, qui positionne le secteur privé et surtout les entrepreneurs comme le catalyseur du développement social et économique du continent.
Chers amis, je vous demande d'accueillir chaleureusement, comme on a l'habitude de le faire dans notre pays, Monsieur Tony Elumelu.
Our keynote speaker.
Please, let's sit down, and you will permit the fact that I can't speak French. So I believe most of you understand me. First is to congratulate all of you to have a president and his team that appreciate and understand the importance of youth economic empowerment. Setting up an incubation center is one of the greatest things your leaders can bequeath you. I had a meeting with the president a few hours ago, and I said to him, you were talking about investment opportunities in your country. And if I was like the chief business officer or chief marketing officer of your country, that we should come to invest. I said, yes, we'll consider investment in infrastructure and other areas. But more importantly, that this incubation center is encouraging will be his legacy, their biggest legacy after office. Because I've always said that countries and leaders who prioritize the youth, who put yourselves, young ones, in front, at the forefront of everything they do, always succeed. Because indeed, you are the future of this great country. You will make the difference. As you succeed, this country will succeed more. And that is why the topic for today's conversation, entrepreneurship in Africa, and how it has helped to develop Africa is so important to me. At the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which is one of the hats I wear, this is what we preach, this is what we believe in, this is what we practice. This is what we champion. This is what we advocate. This is what we try to mobilize others to join in doing. And to have your leadership doing, encouraging this is so important. My name, as you know, is Tony Elumelu. And I have two hats, business hat and philanthropy hat. My business hat is that I'm the chairman as the moderator or the MC said, of Heirs Holdings, which is a family company, investment company, that invests in strategic sectors of the African economy, and maybe later Haiti. We invest in financial services. We have investment in a Pan-African bank that serves over 15 million customers across Africa. And that institution is United Bank for Africa, operates in 20 African countries with 1,000 branches across the African continent, doing so much to catalyze small and medium-scale enterprises like yourselves, and provide infrastructure, support economic growth and development of the African continent. We have interest in real estate and hospitality. We have the Hilton franchise in Nigeria, and we have the biggest hotel in the country. We also are the biggest generators or producers of electricity in Nigeria, producing about 18% of daily Nigeria's electricity consumption. We do over 700 megawatts of electricity on a daily basis, depending on the gas availability. We also are into oil and gas, and most importantly, we're into healthcare, because health is wealth, as you all know. But that is the business. I'll come back briefly to that. But more importantly to me and my colleagues is the Tony Elumelu Foundation, the foundation we founded in 2010, about 8 years ago, which is committed to empowering, just like you, young Africans. Because like your country, the demographic structure of Africa is so that those who are under the age of 30 are over 60% of Africa. And as a group, we prioritize our young ones. We believe so much that if our young ones succeed, we will succeed. And we believe also that poverty anywhere is a threat to all of us everywhere. We believe in the fact that it's not how much we have in our bank accounts that matters. What matters is what we do with the money we have, the kind of lasting impact we're able to create, especially in you, the young ones. So the Tony Elumelu Foundation was founded to help catalyze all of this and drive prosperity, common prosperity, equal prosperity, inclusive and equitable growth and prosperity on the African continent. When I got the invitation to come here today, I prioritized. There are so many things. I flew a lot, so many hours to come here. Coming here, we came in yesterday from Los Angeles, and that's about 7 hours we flew to join you all. But it's a sacrifice that to me, my colleagues and I, is worth it. We think the greatest assistance we can provide to you and your country is to encourage you to succeed as entrepreneurs, to share with you the benefits of entrepreneurial success, for you to know that as you succeed as entrepreneurs of this great country, it cuts across. It's not just success for your family, it's not just success for you alone, it's success for your community and it's success for your country. And that is the heart of today's topic. How can we leverage entrepreneurship to develop this country? And what are the learning points for you based on what has happened in Africa? I am a proponent or the champion of a philosophy we call Afro-capitalism. And Afro-capitalism is all about the realization that the private sector must play a role in the development of Africa. And what, by the way, is good for Africa is good for you in Haiti and the Caribbean, because as much as possible, we see you largely as African descent. Is it correct? So what is good for Africa is good for all of Africa across the world. So we think the private sector must stand up and be counted in development of our countries, in the development of our continent, and must do so by investing in people like you, investing in key sectors that help to catalyze and propel economic growth and development in a manner that is inclusive for all to benefit from. And so it's all about saying, if you invest, you help to create employment. You help to create economic opportunities for people. And together we will develop. Because I believe you know this, that handouts per se, charity, whilst is good, recognized, appreciated, does not provide self-sufficiency, helps to perpetuate perpetual dependency, and does not help the dignity of your labor. So it's a call, it's like to say, we must look at, in the 21st century, how to do things differently. And so that's all about Afro-capitalism. And for it to work, there's a lot that must happen. Our government must play their part to enable the private sector to do well. And when we talk of private sector, it starts from a pipeline of people like you who have ideas. And as you succeed with your ideas will help to grow a vibrant private sector. And as we have a vibrant private sector, it helps to develop the economy. So when I got this invitation to share perspectives on this, entrepreneurship and how to help develop your country, leveraging on the African experience, I said to myself that your President Moi, is indeed an Afro-capitalist. And those also who have worked with him in making this event possible, gathering about 600 of you young Haitians to share, to inspire you, also Afro-capitalists. And I believe that all of us together can make and will make a difference in your country and in Africa. I was born and bred in Africa. I schooled in Africa, worked and continued to work in Africa, invested in Africa, continue to invest in Africa, and I've also reaped the benefits of investing in Africa. And so I know firsthand how it can be. And that's why when my colleagues, they initially prepared a paper for me for this pandemic, I felt I should talk with you because it comes from the heart and it comes from a position of experience firsthand. I know what it means to succeed in business. And I know the rigor of succeeding in business. And I know that as business people, at some point, you would almost want to give up. But it takes little effort and perseverance to make a difference. It takes this kind of interaction, and that is why I'm going to speak for a few more minutes and open this up for conversation so that you can ask me any question that is important to you. But I know that as you succeed, it has multiple benefits. And I will share briefly with you part of my own career or experience. And the reason I share this is for you to know that if a regular Tony Elumelu could stand here today to share his, in quote, success experiences with you, you too can do more in future. It just takes determination, it takes hard work, it takes commitment, it takes resilience, it takes thinking long term, realizing that as an entrepreneur, you will make mistakes and have some temporary setbacks. But in the long run, you make a difference if you stay focused. I grew up at a time that things were tough. I know when I hear people talk and think that life is almost coming to an end today, I say to them, don't worry, others have seen worse times. And at school, as I said, in Africa, I started work, and then we started, myself and a few of us decided to come together to acquire a distressed bank. And this distressed bank we acquired gave us a platform to prove ourselves. And from there, we've done so many things. Grew the distressed bank to a significant position, acquired and merged with another big bank, and created one of the largest financial services groups in Africa, and continue to grow and do well and impact humanity in a variety of ways. And through this, so when we acquired a distressed bank, people prior to us, no one had ever done that in our part of the world. And the moment we acquired this distressed bank and turned it around and started making progress, it became an impetus, an encouragement, an inspiration for others to do so too. And that's why I say that when you succeed as an entrepreneur, the success transcends. It goes beyond you to your community, nation, and even others. It becomes infectious. And that is why you must succeed. Through the experiment of trying to turn around bank, we today create jobs, or have created jobs for over 25,000 young African men and women. And we continue to help to facilitate infrastructure development. We continue to advance human capital development. We continue to help payment system in Africa. And we continue to support entrepreneurs realize their economic and their full potential. That is part of what comes with success, part of what comes with our own personal success. But we did not get there overnight. It did not just happen as a dream. It took time. And for you also, you must invest, have long-term perspective, a bit of patience, be resilient, be hardworking, as I said before. But stay disciplined and stay very hungry, because those are the hallmarks of successful entrepreneurs. When you succeed, success begets success. You just have to make the first success, and a lot more will come. So long as you continue to practice the discipline and philosophy of hard work, thinking long term, all those ideas I shared with, or principles I shared with you. For your country in particular, I know there's been a lot. You've been through interesting times. I won't call it difficult times. I would say interesting times and challenges, which, like business people, we also go through. But you come up or come out stronger. We read of Matthew hurricane and the challenges it brought, or the difficulty, or the interesting issues it caused your people. It cost all of you, your parents, your friends, your families. We must go beyond that. We must bounce back. And I see that on your faces as I spoke with your president today. I see in him a determination by the apex leadership of your country, in him, to make progress, to move your country forward. We all are defined by the events around and about when we all grow up. So you must accept this and see it from point of view of something that happened and something you work very hard to avert. And that you will succeed in your business or businesses to make sure that you bring prosperity to the greatest number of people in your country. In Nigeria and in Africa, it's not been a bed of roses. We've had our challenging times, but we never relented, and we will not relent. So I want you to be relentless, to be highly resilient, to be hardworking, to be very optimistic about tomorrow, realizing that tomorrow does not come the way you plan it if you don't work hard. Say to yourself that you succeed, and you will succeed. Remember today's conversation at all times, that for me and others like me too from that part of the world that have managed to succeed, it did not happen on a platter of gold. We went through our difficult times. We've had times that we felt, should we continue or not? But we persevered, and we're where we are today. And tell yourself, we don't have 10 brains. We all have same type of brain. The difference, in my viewpoint, is the principles that we uphold, the sacrifice we are ready to make, the discipline we apply to our life, and the amount of hard work we need to put in. Even as I stand, and as I stand, I do work hard, and I continue to stay focused, disciplined. I know trade-offs I make, and I know boundaries I don't cross. And I know that to invest, I have to save to invest. So there are basic principles that I would like you, as young, aspiring entrepreneurs, small and medium-scale business owners, to embrace. You will not go wrong. And so in wrapping up, before I start taking questions and answers, I want to say a few things. One is, in you, and as I told you, you're present today, we should have the future Steve Jobs, the future Bill Gates, the Mark Zuckerbergs, and that is the whole essence of this incubation center. If we don't achieve that, then we're disappointing humanity, we're disappointing the government, we're disappointing your people. I believe that a country and a government that decide to prioritize you and create this in this manner, and I know the effort the President's office invested in making sure that they got me to come here. And that's why I said, I'm not going to come with any prepared speech. I'm going to come to interact with you, because therein lies, in my viewpoint, the benefit of bringing me to talk to you today. So one is, we must make a commitment that will succeed, that out of you all here will have future Steve Jobs. And when it happens, you must remember me. Two is, you must realize that the journey to entrepreneurship is not a linear or a smooth journey. You have challenges, you have difficulties. To get to a point that you almost will ask yourself, do I have to continue or just give up? But you must persevere. Because they say, after the thick clouds comes the silver lining. You must. And when you're in that kind of situation, remember today. 3, you must stay hungry, focused, disciplined, and hardworking. The future is for those who embrace hard work, discipline, focus, and of course, hunger. You must realize that dreaming things or a future is one thing, but for it to happen, you need to spend some energy and sacrifice hard work. You need to realize that if you earn $1 and you don't save, if you earn $1 billion, you will not save anything. So don't ever tell yourself that it's not enough, so I can't save until I make more. As you make, save. So that culture and discipline of saving will be there. You must realize that capital formation drives investment, and investment drives prosperity. No shortcuts, you must tell yourselves as entrepreneurs. And you must build your businesses with the future in view, with the future in mind. You must build your businesses to last. It's good to criticize. It's good to be impatient with status quo. It's good to be highly dissatisfied with what is not good. But that should not put you off. That should only spur you to say, I will rise above this and in due course correct this. We succeeded because to some extent, the operating environment was also good. Even more successes can be guaranteed and assured to others if we have better operating environment. That is what I preach at the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Beyond the seed capital, the non-refundable $5,000 we give to each of our beneficiaries to the $100 million commitment. We preach, we advocate, because we know that capital alone does not cannot make much difference. It has to be a combination of capital, mentoring, training, creating networking platform, and all of this we do. And also advocacy, engaging governments, begging government to create the right environment for people like you to succeed. I say to people, it's possible that if Steve Jobs were from a different hostile operating environment, he would never ever have succeeded. And he might have gone. He might or could have gone to the grave with all his great ideas. So our governments have a role to play. I take comfort in the fact that your government, for organizing this, and your president telling me that he wants to create technology village of the future, tells me that he and his chief executives understand the importance of creating the enabling environment that will allow all of you to succeed. And I did tell your president today that what Haiti needs is just even 10 of you succeeding big time. And the impact will be phenomenal. So, my young brothers and sisters, identify with your passion, identify with your desire. As we say in Nigeria and Africa, identify with your hustle. And I can only wish and pray that God will bless it and you will succeed more than us. In Jesus' name. So I throw it open for comments, questions, and we spend the next few minutes interacting. So
thank you. Thank you very much. We are going to take 3 questions or comment. specifically in English. Please, you introduce yourself, your enterprise, or your interest, and you ask the question. Bonjour.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mokani. I've been following you for a very, very long time.
You follow me on social media?
Yes, and I've also...
Which one, Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn?
All of them.
All of them.
And I also met Pamira at the IFC in Washington, D.C. a long time ago. She's your CEO. Amazing work. Pamira, yeah. And I think the fact that you're here in Haiti means so much because we're closer to the U.S., and we're not looking enough into the successes of Africa, not just in terms of models, but also in terms of concrete investment. The fact that you're here personally means a lot to me, and I think it's a huge thing for the country. My question will be brief. I want you to send a message to the private sector. Why you as a businessman decided to invest in young people, and why the Haitian private sector should invest more in young people creating businesses.
I'm impressed. You already are in my community. You follow me on social media. And please feel very free to interact with me from time to time because I try to be responsive to my followers. Let me say a few things and in hope that it will inspire others. You know, the beauty of private sector is that you can't legislate what people there do because they work hard and earn their earnings and living. But if we believe in certain fundamental, I wouldn't say occurrences, but I would say certain fundamental principles, then it could address some of the issue you have raised. First is, existentially, we all struggle, what I call hustle. And depending on where you are, you might struggle first to cross the abject poverty line, or you cross the line to become super rich or wealthy. But ultimately, and indeed, as you know, that is not what defines a man. You know, what defines us when we have at least been able to address the basic human needs, what defines us is impact and legacy. Steve Jobs lived and is long gone, but he made an impact in this world, and that's why sitting here I can reference to talk about him. And almost everywhere I go to, I talk about him. Michael Jackson lived and is gone, but he made an impact on the world. But more importantly, is legacy that we leave behind. So if endowed, rich, successful, wealthy people begin to think about legacy, in fact, not just them, even our public sector leaders begin to think about legacy, then they begin to realize that not so much what you accumulate for yourself and your family, that even when you're there, you don't even know how your children will spend it. It is more about the impact that we create. It is about the legacy. It's about how we're able to impact humanity and the legacy we leave behind. I think it is, in my viewpoint, lack of this understanding that makes some people to be shall I say selfish or self-centered. Progressively, there's a wind that's blowing in the world now. And people are beginning to realize that, so after all the money, what next? And they are becoming less primordial and becoming more embracive and understanding of the need to create a society that is fairly inclusive. Second point is that if people realize that poverty anywhere is a threat to everyone, everywhere, then to begin to address how we do things. if people realize that barbed wire condominiums or environments is not beauty, it's not peace. If people realize that security can be threatened when people are hungry and when people feel there's so much affluence around but they cannot feed, then they begin to look at things differently. I think the world is beginning to change. We can only encourage more private sector people and our friends from Haiti to think of creating more wealth for others, or to think of assisting others to create wealth. And that way people used to think in the past that your success or another person's success could affect your success. It's something that must go. It's a mentality of the past. Because we can see that you can have common success or success around, and it sees so much for everyone. It is the deficit or deficiency of the mind on some of these issues that has constrained some people. And so for me, the advice to every one of us is, everyone, especially private sector leaders, is if we embrace the philosophy of capitalism, private sector coming forward to play its own role in helping to develop, not just creating economic wealth for yourself, but creating a prosperity that cuts across, then it will help us to do things differently. If we realize that at the end of the day, it's not how much we have in our bank accounts, but the level of impact and legacy, impact on humanity that matters, then people would appreciate this. If we realize that inclusive growth and development, prosperity is better than one person you live on the street and there's only one car on that street, others don't have cars, it's not good for you. Someone did ask me why the Tony Elumelu Foundation, we committed as much as $100 million, and what is the benefit? Why is it? People you don't know, and which is the truth. 1,000 young people from across Africa every year, 54 African countries, benefit from this program. Why do you do this? And I will leave the documentary behind. And I said, I want in my old age to visit a country, like come to Haiti, and let people say to me, there's one man from Nigeria, Africa, who gave us some small support when we started. That is how we've been able to build this wonderful. Imagine if someone did that for Steve Jobs. That person, imagine if when Steve Jobs was starting, someone gave Steve Jobs $5,000, mentoring, training, networking, everything, and it's as successful as, or became as successful as well before he died. I think there is psychic and intrinsic reward and excitement in that person than even what you have in your bank account. That is how we need to all begin to think. And by the way, finally to the private sector leaders, the more entrepreneurs we support, the more we grow the ecosystem of prosperity, the more we create a vibrant value chain that you, the private sector leader, will benefit from. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Mr. Elumelu, for being here. My name is Olivier Noel. I'm from DNA Simple. I'm a Haitian geneticist living in New York City. And a lot of us overseas always look for ways to invest in Haiti, to go back and inform groups and be able to invest and do things that will help the country move forward. Can you tell us about 2 to 3 criteria that you're specifically looking at when looking at a country like Haiti that will tell you whether you're able to invest or not? Thank you.
A couple of points, but let me start with what appears mundane, but very important. I look at the business environment, and if I see successful entrepreneurs in a country, it's a big plus for investment. It tells me a lot. First, it tells me that that country's ease of doing business environment is conducive for business, hence those people are succeeding. Unless those who are rent-seeking, who just depend on government, for private sector to succeed, the environment must be right. So if I see people succeeding in the private sector in a country, it tells me that that is a country to invest in, number one. Two is, of course, the business environment per se, the ease of doing business. You know, how is that country, how does that country, is government pro-business or against business? Because government must not compete with the private sector. Government must enable the private sector to succeed. Government must realize that success of private sector is good for the citizenry. In fact, it helps government itself to achieve its social objectives. But fortunately, in some environments, it's almost like government is competing with private sector. It's almost like it is bad for private sector to succeed. We're no longer in that age and time. The private sector succeeds, put the right regulatory environment in place as government, support private sector to succeed. They succeed, they help you create employment. You are the ones that will create employment for countries, small and medium-scale enterprises. That is what happens everywhere. Most jobs in Western advanced countries, 85% of jobs are created by small and medium-scale enterprises, not by big corporations. So it's important that the right environment is created. And also, in fact, that right environment is so right because there is certain things that you need for businesses. So for me, two most critical things I look out for is the environment, business environment, how difficult it is to do business, or easy it is to do business, so easy to find out that, and two, are people succeeding in that country? If people are not succeeding in that country, I don't think it's where you want to do business. If people are not succeeding, then look at it again and let's see why they are not doing well. I believe that our leadership, our country must begin to understand that these two things are extremely important. It's not just enough to tell investors to come in. For investors to come in, they do their own analysis in their boardrooms. And these are important. And of course, last but not the least, for you said three, is the perception people have of a country is very, very important. And that is why we need to begin to run government the way we run private sector. We need to take the reputation of government very seriously. We want to make sure that the right perception, right image is created for a country. And we also as country leaders must ensure that anything that brings damage or negativity to our country is avoided. We need to tell stories driven by reality. And the best form of story is when I interact with a business partner, I say, how is your country? Forget what government is. How is your country? Say your country is good. And that, then it tells you it's the right place to invest in. And when we say business environment is right, it means certain regulatory issues are addressed. We're in the power sector. In some countries, you want to go into electricity, and it could take 7-8 years to get regulatory approvals. How can you do business in that environment? But some countries are hungrier and more ready for business. You go there, it takes like few months or weeks to get regulatory approval. It says a lot. Then as an investor, you decide where you want to invest in. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Clev Mesador. I actually have a blockchain startup. And yes, and the blockchain space, cryptocurrency space is relatively new but growing. And obviously in terms of gender diversity, it's minimal, barely noticeable. But in terms of diversity among the men, you do have men from India, Japan, China. What has struck me is there's not just an African presence within the blockchain and cryptocurrency space, there's a footprint. There are players who have been operating and who have organizations and companies that are viable. And it struck me that at some point within the continent of Africa, there wasn't just a focus on tech. There was an investment to make sure that entrepreneurs are leveraging these types of technologies in significant ways. Because what's absent for me is you don't see very many Black or Latino from the US, from the Caribbean, or even Latin America. So can you speak to a bit more about how Africa is investing in their entrepreneurs to make sure they don't just have a presence, but they have a footprint? Now, my wonderful Haitian sister here has a follow-up. Now, you mentioned earlier that you were you were looking at Haiti, and you've made a huge investment to invest in entrepreneurs within the continent of Africa. Are you willing today to make a pledge to invest in Haiti that needs the capital that you are so willing to allot? So 2 questions. Okay. One about the blockchain footprint and one a pledge for Haiti.
No, about the blockchain, I think it's interesting because this is a conversation I have with my senior leadership. One of them in particular who is very passionate about this and trying to create significant awareness, especially among the entrepreneurs that will support. But my response is that entrepreneurship is the same principles. It cuts across, so that there's no reason. And what we do, we're sector agnostic, but that there's no reason to have any social focus on any area. What we have social focus on gender balance, and also to make sure that rural and urban entrepreneur people dwellers have equal opportunity. But in terms of sector, we just are very, very free on sectors. And what I would say is everyone, whether blockchain, anything, to follow the same principles. But just to say, though, that statistics show that there are a lot of them in Nigeria, a lot of blockchain, if you check, which I found very interesting. I didn't even know that until I saw the statistics, which is quite interesting. So same principles, and I hear a lot of people are making good money there. So I wish you success, and yeah, hopefully you'll be one of the very successful ones there, and you can bring more awareness here to everyone. But to the second point about the Tony Elumelu Foundation and support and a commitment, we made a 10-year commitment of $100 million. We've now done 4 years, and the commitment was for Africa. By the way, I must share, social media, if you follow me, at times you hear some of my brothers and sisters in Nigeria say, why are you supporting all of Africa when you've not supported? It should be just for Nigeria and not all of Africa. So my point is, well, the same. It's just geographical definitions of boundaries that separate us, but we're all basically the same. And I can extend that to Haiti too and other countries here. But the next pledge will happen after these first 10 years. Because we made a significant commitment. And in fact, I must share this here that we've done 4 years now. First year, we got 20,000 applications, and we selected just 1,000. We work with management consulting firm Accenture. They do the selection process for us. Second year, we got 48 or 45,000 applications. We selected 1,000, but that's our commitment. Third year, we got 90-something thousand applications. We selected 1,000. And this fourth year, we got 151,000 applications, and we just selected 1,000. So it's getting tighter. What I would say, at the end of the 10th year, we will be more globally focused than we are today. So that is it. We can take 2 more questions if you allow, or for me, I don't mind. I can take 2 more if you allow.
Well, thanks for the people who asked the question. Thanks for the answers too. We don't have more questions, but we do have a surprise, Luc.
Yes. A big surprise for Mr. Tony Elumelu. Et j'appelle le directeur de cabinet du président de me rejoindre sur le stage. Et j'appelle aussi deux jeunes artistes, des portraitistes et dessinateurs. Séraphin Snyder Renley, Saint-Germain Jean Smith. Je vous demande de les applaudir tout de suite. Vous allez voir pourquoi. So, this is a surprise for Mr. Tony Elumelu. Le directeur de cabinet du président va remettre le portrait à Tony.
I just want to say that those young people made this portrait in only 3 days.
Yes.
They wanted to give it to Mr. Lumelu. Of course, that we're going to show you the portrait. Wait a second. And there it is.
Est-ce que c'est réussi? Ouais. Voilà. Il s'appelle Séraphin Snyder-Henley, à gauche, et Saint-Germain Jean Smith, justement ici, les deux dessinateurs portraitistes qui ont réalisé cette œuvre. Voilà. One more time, thank you to Mr. Tony Elumelu.
Eh bien voilà, je pense que nous avons tous apprécié cette présentation. Eh bien oui, hein, c'est la photo souvenir. Évidemment. Quand même. Avec son
c'est possible
portrait.
Si on pourrait avoir peut-être les deux artistes avec lui, ça aurait été intéressant aussi de prendre une photo.
Alors la journée n'est pas encore terminée. Je sais, mais je peux vous assurer que ça vaut la peine. Ça vaut la peine de rester avec nous. Nous allons avoir maintenant le panel suivant. International Cooperation on Entrepreneurship and Innovation and Development Goals.